Greetings, and welcome to Stuffology, where two old friends sit around and talk BS, Beatles stuff, on a track-by-track basis, pretty much for the sake of it. My name is McQuarrie, and I'm here with my co-host, Andrew Deacon. Say hi, Andrew.
Hi, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. I should probably say I'm not. In fact, I'm feeling down, but that would require some kind of link to the song we're talking about. So I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to say, yeah, I'm all right. How are you?
Oh God.
Well, yeah,
I
you
mean,
know.
we should point out with the minimum amount of that shenanigans. This is intended to be a mini-sode, and I'm deliberately saying mini-sode in order to save time by that I would expend by saying mini episode. Really, because we forgot to record this when we should have recorded it.
Once again, we have managed to secure our reputation as the most well put together of all Beatles podcasts. So that's fine, I guess. Anyway, let's just keep going. So, yeah, we have finished off Help. We are now diving back into singles territory. But before we get to these singles, we better finish off this one. So, yeah, it's I'm Down. What do you reckon?
I reckon this is my favourite Beastie Boys track.
Okay, that's a good place to start. Elaborate on that, please, if you would, good sir.
I think the Beastie Boys cover of this is absolutely one of the best Beatles covers I've heard in all the time that we've done this. Recorded for License to Ill, which I think was 86 or 87. Didn't end up on it because I think Michael Jackson at that point had only just taken over the rights for Northern songs, and wasn't prepared to have the Beastie Boys release this. Although, ironically, I think in the same year, Aerosmith did a very kind of vanilla cover of this as well. But the Beastie Boys one is loose, it's vibrant. They add little bits to it. You really get a sense that they both like it and also know how to improve it. And I think that's hugely significant. And also with the the way the Beastie Boys sing "I'm Down," the backing vocals, even more than the Beatles version, it just makes me think of the Batman theme tune.
Well, that can only be a good thing.
So just start thinking when you hear "I'm Down," just replace that for Batman, Batman, Batman. It works absolutely perfectly. So yeah, that's my absolute hot take on this. I've got another couple of hot takes for later, but that'll do for now. What's your hot take on I'm Down?
I don't really have a hot take on it, other than the fact that I really like it. I think it's a cracking little song. I do agree about the Beastie Boys cover. It's really fantastic. I'm really glad you gave it a shout out. But it's, I think, a great little song. It's punchy. It's funny. It's really well recorded. I think it's a great showcase for McCartney's vocals. It's 1,000 times better than Dizzy and Miss Lizzy that closes out Help. And it's just this fantastic sort of rocking number. That opening where you get you get McCartney's vocal and then you get Ringo sort of snapping in on the drums with the punch is really effective. It's a great use of Ringo and just like punching into the track like that. It gets everything off to such a flying start, and it doesn't let up until we get to the end of it. I really rate I'm Down. I think it's a great song.
I think this is one of two songs that McCartney deliberately wrote to showcase his vocal range, and in particular that screeching range. The other one being Helter Skelter. I think that's it. The lyrics don't matter. The lyrics are daft on this. They really. I know I've seen people sort of saying, "Oh well, he was at that stage in a relationship." Which
No.
it doesn't matter. Just don't. Okay. It's just a case of what words will sound great if I'm belting them out in this way. And he's come up with a bunch of words that are absolutely appropriate, and it's therefore designed to be what it actually became, which is something that they really enjoyed playing live. And so that's the other thing, isn't it? That people know about this is the Shea Stadium, the footage of
Sorry,
that, and
can't help it.
Yeah. You do your roles thing.
No,
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah, no, it's good.
And that's that Shea Stadium thing with Lennon dicking about and so. But actually, of course, the irony behind that is that the recording of I'm Down that's put out as being at Shea Stadium isn't actually what they played at Shea Stadium. They re-recorded it and did overdubs to it, and I think McCartney apparently put on a whole new bass line as well. So what you when you see them playing it at Shea Stadium, you're not actually hearing them play at Shea Stadium. You know, bit weird as well. I suppose the other thing, part of my efforts to make this a mini-sode, the other thing that's important about this is that, as we mentioned on the yesterday episode, this was recorded in the same session as yesterday, but not in a John Lennon, let's leave this to the end because your voice might not hold up sort of way. He did it before he did yesterday. Just amazing that he had the confidence to do that. And I wonder if that sort of signifies McCartney basically saying, here you go, John, it's been your band for a while. Look what I can do, mate. Huh? Huh? Huh?
Well, I mean, whether that was the intention behind it or not, it certainly stands as a statement of purpose. I mean, there's no doubt about it. To follow yesterday with to follow this with yesterday is astonishing. And I mean, I still think, I don't know if McCartney really gets maybe he does get enough credit for his rocking voice now rather than his balladeering voice, but it's an astounding performance, and I don't think, you know, I don't think Lennon could have given it what McCartney gives it in this. No, I mean, it's a McCartney song, so Lennon would never have ended up singing it anyway. But just imagine Lennon trying to sing this in his twist and shout voice. It would sound good. It might even sound great, but it wouldn't sound like this. Nobody can touch McCartney when he's doing this kind of thing. I mean, I adore his vocal on Helter Skelter for precisely the same reason. He just can't be touched in it as far as the Beatles are concerned. And this is such a powerful performance. It really anchors everything.
But obviously this is very much from a fan's perspective. There's a sort of an unhinged element to this and Helter Skelter, that once he learned how to take the best bits of that, but also then to restrain it slightly, you get Maybe I'm Amazed.
Yeah.
Which is just like, okay, that's it. There you go. That's the song. There you go, Paul. You don't need to write any more solo material. You've got Maybe I'm Amazed. That's fine. You can do whatever you want after that. But then let's not start talking about transitions again. Too much transition talk in the last episode.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Well, I don't think I'm Down is a transition to anything, so we can neatly sidestep this. What?
It's fun, and it's a fun homage, if you like, to the old Little Richard type song.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's interesting that he's, and maybe that's that McCartney thing, that he's still kind of got his mind on live performance, that he's coming up with something that is specifically designed for a live performance, and yet not that far away he's going to be coming up with things that push the boundaries of studio performance. But they didn't they do this on I nearly said Letterman then, the Ed Sullivan show in the summer of '65.
I think they did, yeah.
I think they did. I'm just it's a B-side.
Can you imagine? Even that, it's a B-side, feels remarkable. It doesn't read like a B-side. It sounds like something which has been thought through and worked and put together. And it was all done relatively quickly, but it just doesn't have that kind of like tossed off throwaway that a lot of B-sides would have. And I mean, the Beatles are one of the many bands of the 60s who really do put effort into their B-sides, and I'm debating with myself whether they've done a better B-side up to this point. I don't know. There's not a lot in it, I don't think. It is. I really adore this song, and I love how confident it is, only to be buried, maybe that's too strong, but to be put on a B-side. It's got everything you could want from this kind of song, and it kind of takes the roots that it comes from, I think. The Little Richard, some of the Jerry Lee Lewis stuff that Lennon does on organ towards the end, and just does it not only as well as those things, but I think manages to even sort of move on from them. I'm not trying to. I don't want to say that it's like better than anything Little Richard has done. That's not fair. But it manages to move away from it. So it's not just pastiche. It's not just a copy of that, even although it's very much what it's coming from.
It's got a brilliant guitar solo as well.
It does, yeah, it really does.
And for me to say that,
Yeah.
is suggests that it might be something that had a little bit of an impact on me. Yeah, I think it's a really good marker in terms of this is what this band has been about up to this stage. And celebration of all the things related to their Hamburg type experience and their playing live experience, and they've come up with it just at a point where they're going to stop playing. Well, admittedly, it's still a year away, but it's still going to be with them long enough for them to close concerts with it as well, which is just a phenomenal testament to how much fun it must have been to play.
Yeah. And it's one that kind of it stands up until they stop playing, and it's easy to understand why. It's such an easy song to throw yourself at and knock out. It's only got 6 chords in it, and 2 of them are C and C7. So it's a very simple, it's a very straightforward song, but it is one you can just grab an instrument and belt out, and that's part of its charm. It's not overly complicated. It's not something you have to spend a long time learning. You just hammer on with it, and away you go. And I mean, I think it's fair to say that of all the Beatles, McCartney is the one that enjoyed playing live the most. I mean, you could make a case for Ringo, but I think it's probably McCartney, and the idea that he is still very invested in writing songs which are going to work in that context feels very appropriate for him. It feels like the sort of thing that he will it's part of his core. It's part of who he is. He loves that performance aspect of it, and having something like this that he can just show off doing. Yeah, it's completely consistent.
Yep, there you go. I think that's quite a nice little summation there. Like we promised a mini episode, a minisode, if you will.
A minisode, yes.
I don't really have anything else to add on this. Are you would you like to wax lyrical a little bit more?
I mean, honestly, not much. It is one. It is one of the things that happens when you come across a song like this that you just really love, but that it doesn't really require any great degree of critical analysis or insight. Not that I'm suggesting that that's what we've done elsewhere, obviously, but it's a great song. The lyrics don't matter, damn. It's it's just a handful of chords and 4 blokes having a bloody good time, like knocking it out. Like sometimes that's what you get, sometimes that's what you need, and this time that's definitely what we have.
Well, dear listener, if you quite like these minisodes and the length, then do let us know. How can people let us know, JG?
Well, thank you for that smooth and flawless link into getting a hold of us. They can do that by email. We are BeatlesStuffology@gmail.com. We are on Twitter, or whatever is there left of it, at Beatles_ology. And we are Beatles Stuffology on Instagram. You can also find my blog at www.jgmcquarrie.scot. And please like, rate, and review us on whatever podcatcher you're using, so that other people can find the show. I've just realized we didn't score this, so I need a score off you before I close out with what we're going to be doing next week.
We're going to give it a 6.
6. Okay, that's nice. I think I'm going to give it a 7. Yeah, it's pretty top-notch B-side, I would say. Right, lovely. Well, minisode, if you will, has been concluded. Next week we will continue with singles, and as we have very much failed to do in this episode, we can work it out. But until then, keep listening.